story of Pakistan's ancient past is an epic written not in ink, but in the very soil, stone, and spirit of a land that has served for millennia as one of humanity's grandest crossroads. To speak of the ancient history of Pakistan is to narrate a foundational chapter in the story of civilization itself, a chronicle of breathtaking innovation, profound synthesis, and relentless transformation. This region, defined by its majestic and varied geography, from the soaring glaciated peaks of the Hindu Kush and Karakoram that scrape the sky, to the vast fertile alluvial plains of the Punjab and Sindh, watered by the mighty Indus and its tributaries, to the stark dramatic deserts of Balochistan and the sweeping coastline along the Arabian Sea, has never been a passive stage. It has been an active shaping force, a natural amphitheater that invited migration, demanded adaptation, facilitated trade, and witnessed the rise and fall of empires with a rhythmic inevitability. The land's destiny has been irrevocably carved by its position as the great intersection of worlds. It is the meeting point of Central Asian steppes, the Iranian plateau, the Mesopotamian sphere, and the Indian subcontinent. This unique placement made it a perennial corridor for ideas, peoples, goods, and armies flowing east and west, north and south. Consequently, the ancient history of Pakistan is not a linear, isolated narrative of a single people, but a complex, layered palimpsest. It is a story where indigenous genius, the world's first planned cities, early dental surgery, revolutionary artistic forms, constantly engaged with external influences, from Persian imperial administrators to Greek philosophers and Central Asian nomads. This essay will embark on a detailed journey through this monumental past, exploring each epoch from the dawn of human tool-making to the pivotal moment when Islam became a permanent feature of the cultural landscape, highlighting the distinct character and enduring legacy of each era. The primordial dawn, Paleolithic and Mesolithic foundations, c. 774,000–7000 BCE. The earliest chapters of human history in Pakistan are inscribed in river terraces and fossil beds. The Lower Paleolithic Soanian culture, named for the Soan Valley near Islamabad, represents the region's first significant human inhabitants during the Pleistocene epoch. Dating from approximately 774,000 to 11,700 BCE, these early hominins, likely Homo erectus, were not mere passive dwellers, but active shapers of their environment. Their toolkit, characterized by pebble tools, choppers, scrapers, and flakes, crafted from quartzite, represents the Acheulean tradition. These were not random stones, but purposefully fashioned instruments for cutting, scraping, and processing food. The distribution of Soanian sites along ancient river courses, like the Swan and the Indus, indicates a lifestyle intimately tied to fluvial environments. These hunter-gatherers exploited riparian resources, hunting game that came to water and gathering edible plants. Their survival through multiple glacial and interglacial cycles speaks to a deep resilience and adaptability to climatic shifts, setting a precedent for the region's future inhabitants. The transition from the Paleolithic to the Mesolithic period, c. 12,000–7,000 BCE, saw significant technological and social refinement. While evidence from this era in Pakistan is less concentrated than in later periods, sites in the Sivalik Hills and Balochistan suggest the development of microliths, small geometrically shaped stone tools that were often hafted into wooden handles to create composite weapons like arrows and spears. This technological leap increased hunting efficiency and allowed for greater specialization. The period likely saw the beginnings of more complex social organization, ritualistic behavior, suggested by occasional ochre use and possible burial practices, and a gradual move towards a less nomadic, more territorially defined existence, particularly in resource-rich areas. This slow but steady evolution laid the crucial behavioral groundwork for the revolutionary change that was to follow, the shift from foraging to to food production. 2. The Neolithic Revolution, the birth of settlement at Mehrgarh, c. 7000–2600 BCE. If the Paleolithic was about survival in nature, the Neolithic, as revealed at the spectacular site of Mehrgarh on the Kachi plain of Balochistan, was about the human mastery of nature. Discovered in 1974, Mehrgarh provides an unparalleled, continuous archaeological sequence that charts the birth of South Asian settled life. Its significance cannot be overstated. It is the proto-urban progenitor from which the glories of the Indus Valley would eventually spring. Period 1. c. 7000–5500 BCE. The AC Ceramic Neolithic. The earliest settlers at Mehrgarh lived in modest mud brick compartmentalized houses, but their innovations were world-changing. They practiced systematic agriculture, cultivating barley and wheat, two of the founding crops of civilization, as well as dates and jujubes. Concurrently, they embarked on animal domestication, herding sheep, goats, and humped cattle. Zebu. This shift from hunting to herding provided a stable, renewable source of protein, hide, and bone. The presence of granaries indicates surplus production and the need for storage, implying planning and social coordination. Their material culture was already sophisticated. They fashioned fine microlithic tools, wove baskets, and crafted ornaments from seashells, limestone, and turquoise, the latter suggesting long-distance trade networks reaching into Central Asia. Most astonishingly, evidence from graves reveals the world's earliest known dentistry. Teeth from this period show precise drilling, likely to treat decay or abscess using flint-tipped bow drills. Periods 2, 3, c. 5500 to 2600 BCE, the Ceramic Neolithic and Chalcolithic. As centuries passed, Mehrgarh grew in complexity. Pottery emerged and evolved with beautiful painted designs. Copper metallurgy began, first with simple beads and pins, then more complex tools. Craft specialization intensified, with distinct areas for bead making, using steatite and lapis lazuli, flint knapping and tanning. Figurines of women and bulls suggest early religious or fertility cults. The social structure likely became more hierarchical, with emergent elites controlling surplus and trade. By around 2600 BCE, the focus of civilization was shifting to the Indus River Valley proper, drawn by its greater agricultural potential. Mehrgarh was not abruptly abandoned, but gradually declined, its knowledge, people, and technologies migrating to fuel the next, even greater urban experiment. It was the successful prototype. The Indus Valley cities would be the mass-produced model. 3. The zenith of Bronze Age urbanism. The Indus Valley Civilization, c. 3300–1300 BCE. Emerging from the fertile foundations laid by Mehrgarh and other Neolithic cultures, the Indus Valley Civilization, IVC, also known as the Harappan Civilization, represents one of humanity's most brilliant and enigmatic early urban experiments. From approximately 3300 BCE, a process of integration and urbanization began, culminating in the mature Harappan period, c. 2600–1900 BCE, a golden age of peace, prosperity, and breathtaking sophistication. A tapestry of cities and towns. The IVC was not a monolithic empire, but a vast culture zone of over 1,500 sites, from tiny villages to colossal cities, unified by shared material culture, measurement systems, and artistic styles. The twin capitals of Mohenjo-daro, Mound of the Dead, in Sindh and Harappa in Punjab, were marvels of pre-modern planning. Their layout was based on a rigorous grid system of streets, oriented north-south and east-west. Buildings were constructed with standardized kiln-fired bricks in a consistent 4:2:1 ratio, a uniformity unparalleled in the ancient world. Hydraulic engineering. The city's most striking feature was their advanced water management. Mohenjo-daro boasted over 700 wells, and nearly every house had a dedicated bathing area and a chute for wastewater. An elaborate citywide covered drainage system of brick-lined channels ran beneath the streets, with sump pits for sedimentation, ensuring remarkable sanitation. Architectural grandeur. Public architecture included the Great Bath at Mohenjo-daro, a large waterproofed brick pool likely used for ritual purification, and massive granaries for centralized storage of agricultural surplus, indicating a strong administrative apparatus. The apparent absence of monumental temples or palaces, unlike in Egypt or Mesopotamia, suggests a unique, possibly more mercantile or collective form of governance. Economic and artistic life. The Harappans were master craftsmen and active traders. They worked carnelian, steatite, and copper with exquisite skill, producing beads, bangles, and the famous steatite seals. These seals, inscribed with the still undeciphered Indus script and depicting animals like the unicorn bull, Pashupati, a proto-Shiva figure, and ritual scenes, were likely used for marking trade goods. Their trade networks were vast. Indus goods and seals have been found in Mesopotamian cities like Ur, while raw materials like lapis lazuli from Afghanistan, tin from Central Asia, and gold from southern India flowed into their cities. Social cohesion and mystery. Society appears to have been remarkably stable and peaceful. There is scant evidence of warfare or large-scale weaponry. The uniformity in weights and measures across the civilization facilitated trade, yet profound mysteries remain. The script is unreadable. The nature of their political and religious hierarchy is unclear, and their eventual decline is a puzzle. The enigmatic decline. Circa 1900 and 1300 BCE. Around 1900 BCE, the signs of decay appear. Trade with Mesopotamia faded. The great cities were slowly, systematically abandoned. The once meticulous urban planning gave way to smaller, squatter settlements. The causes were likely a confluence of environmental and social factors. 1. Climate change and river shifts. Paleoclimatic data indicates a prolonged period of aridification. The crucial Ganga-Hakra river system, likely the Vedic Saraswati, dried up, devastating the agricultural heartland. 2. Geological upheavals. Evidence suggests tectonic activity may have blocked or diverted rivers, causing catastrophic flooding in some areas, as seen at Mohenjo-daro, and drought in others. 3. Social and economic fragmentation. The breakdown of long-distance trade and agricultural stress may have eroded the authority of the central urban elites, causing a return to more localized, rural socio-economies. The civilization did not vanish. Its people migrated eastward towards the Gangetic Plain and southward into Gujarat. Their legacy in agricultural practices, pottery styles, perhaps religious concepts like ritual bathing and proto-Shiva lingered, forming a deep cultural substratum upon which later South Asian civilizations would build. 4. The Vedic Age and Persian satrapies, an era of synthesis and imperial ambition, c. 1500-326 BCE. The second millennium BCE ushered in a new demographic and cultural wave with the migration of Indo-Aryan tribes into the northwestern subcontinent. The ensuing Vedic period, Sita's 1500 and 500 BCE, was a formative age, documented in the poetic hymns of the Rig Veda and other sacred texts. This was not a simple conquest, but a long process of interaction, conflict, and synthesis with the post-Harappan populations, often called the Dasas or Dasyas in the Vedas. The early Indo-Aryans were a pastoral, semi-nomadic and tribally organized people. Their society was patriarchal and ritual-centered, revolving around the sacrifice, yajna, performed by priests, Brahmins, to maintain cosmic order, Rita. Their primary zone was the Sapta Sindhu, the land of the seven rivers, principally the Punjab. The period saw the gradual transition from a bronze-using to an iron-using society, with iron technology accelerating forest clearance and settlement in the Gangetic Plain. By the later Vedic period, c. 1500 BCE, tribes, Janas, had coalesced into small kingdoms, Janapadas, such as Kuru, Panchala, and Gandhara. Taxila, Takshashila, emerged as a premier center of learning, attracting scholars in medicine, law, and statecraft. This political fragmentation made the region vulnerable. In the 6th century BCE, Cyrus the Great of the Achaemenid Empire campaigned into Gandhara and along the Makran coast. His successor, Darius I, 522–486 BCE, formally annexed the lands west of the Indus, creating several satrapies, provinces. Gandhara, modern Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and eastern Afghanistan. Hindush, the lower Indus Valley, Sindh and Punjab. Satagidya, Banu Basin. Arakusia, around Kandahar. Gedrosia, Makran, Balochistan. Persian rule for nearly 2 centuries was transformative. It introduced imperial administration, a system of centralized governance with satraps, governors, treasurers, and secretaries. Infrastructure, the construction of the royal road network linking the Indus to the imperial heartland in Iran. Bureaucracy and coinage, the use of Aramaic script for administration and the introduction of standardized coinage, the Daric, stimulating the monetization of the economy. Artistic influence. Persian artistic motifs, such as the use of bell-shaped column bases and friezes of lions and griffins, began to appear in Gandhara. The Persian period integrated the region into a vast, transcontinental economic and cultural sphere, setting a precedent for future empires. Alexander's brief flame and the ascent of the Mauryas. 326–185 BCE. The weakening of Achaemenid control set the stage for one of history's most dramatic collisions. In 326 BCE, Alexander the Great, having dismantled the Persian Empire, pushed into the Punjab. The most celebrated confrontation was the Battle of the Hydaspes, Jhelum River, against King Porus, Puru. Despite being outnumbered and facing war elephants, Alexander's tactical genius secured a hard-fought victory. Impressed by Porus's valor, Alexander reinstated him as a vassal king, a classic policy of his to secure conquered territories through local allies. Alexander's ambitions, however, were checked by his own army. Weary from years of campaigning and daunted by rumors of the powerful Nanda Empire to the east with its vast armies of elephants, his troops mutinied at the Beas River, refusing to march further. Forced to turn back, Alexander embarked on a grueling journey down the Indus, subduing resistant tribes like the Malay, where he suffered a near-fatal chest wound before splitting his forces. He led one group through the hellish Gedrosian desert, Makran, a march that cost countless lives, while his admiral Nearchus sailed along the coast. Alexander's direct political impact was ephemeral. He left a few garrisons and founded some cities like Alexandria Bucephala, but his empire fractured immediately after his death in 323 BCE. His lasting legacy was the profound cultural opening he created. The channels between the Greek world and South Asia were now wide open, a conduit for ideas, art, and people that would bear fruit in the coming centuries. The power vacuum was swiftly filled by Chandragupta Maurya, a visionary from Magadha. With the counsel of his brilliant minister Chanakya, author of the Arthashastra, a treatise on statecraft, Chandragupta raised an army, overthrew the Nandas, and then turned west. By 317 BCE, he had expelled the Greek satraps and conquered the Indus region. In 305 BCE, he defeated Seleucus I Nicator, Alexander's successor in the east, in a war that concluded with a treaty. Chandragupta gained vast territories including Gandhara and Arakosia, and cemented the alliance with a marital union. while Seleucus received 500 war elephants. This treaty formally brought the lands of Pakistan under a pan-Indian empire for the first time. The Mauryan Empire reached its apogee under Ashoka, CY 268–232 BCE. After a bloody conquest of Kalinga, Ashoka experienced a profound conversion to Buddhism and the principle of Dharma, righteousness. His reign transformed the region. Missionary zeal, Ashoka made Gandhara and Punjab major hubs of Buddhist missionary activity, sending emissaries to Sri Lanka, Central Asia, and the Hellenistic kingdoms. Taxila flourished as a cosmopolitan center of Buddhist and secular learning. Edicts and infrastructure. He inscribed his moral and administrative precepts on rock and pillar edicts across the empire, several found in Pakistan, for example, at Shabasgari and Mansehra, written in Kharosthi script. He built hospitals, rest houses, and the forerunner of the Grand Trunk Road. Administrative integration. The region was governed from the imperial center at Pataliputra through a hierarchy of officials, Rajakas, Yuktas, integrating it tightly into a subcontinental administrative framework. After Ashoka, the empire rapidly disintegrated. The last Mauryan ruler in the northwest was overthrown around 185 BCE, plunging the region into a new era of political fragmentation and foreign influence. 6. The Golden Crucible. Indo-Greeks, Sarcopathians, and the Kushan zenith, c. 185 BCE 300 CE. The post-Mauryan period saw the rise of a series of foreign dynasties that made northwestern Pakistan the world's most dynamic cultural melting pot, a true golden crucible. The Indo-Greek kingdoms, ca. 185–10 BCE. As the Mauryan grip loosened, the Greco-Bactrian kings from north of the Hindu Kush, like Demetrius I and most famously Menander I, Milinda, c. 155–130 BCE, invaded and established kingdoms with capitals at Taxila and Sagala, Sialkot. Menander's rule is immortalized in the Buddhist philosophical text Milinda Panha, The Questions of King Milinda, a dialogue between the king and the sage Nagasena, showcasing the intellectual syncretism of the age. The Indo-Greeks introduced Hellenistic art and coinage. They issued superb bilingual Greek and Prakrit coins, often with portraits of rulers, influencing all subsequent South Asian coinage. The foundations of Gandharan art. While the full fusion came later, the Greeks introduced artistic techniques, naturalism, drapery, humanistic representation that would revolutionize Buddhist iconography. The Scythians, Sakas, and Indo-Parthians, c. 100 BCE 50 CE. Pressured by nomadic movements in Central Asia, the Sakas, Indo-Scythians, overran the Indo-Greeks. They were followed by the Indo-Parthians, whose most famous king, Gondophares, c. 2250 CE, ruled from Taxila. Christian tradition holds that the Apostle Thomas, the Doubting Thomas, visited Gondophares' court, reflecting the region's connection to early Christian law. These dynasties continued the syncretic traditions, blending Persian, Greek, and Indian motifs. The Kushan Empire, c. 5300 CE. The pinnacle of this syncretic age was reached under the Kushan Empire, originating from the Yuezhi Confederation, driven out of western China, the Kushans, under Kujula Kadphises and his grandson Kanishka the Great, c. 127–150 CE, created an empire stretching from Central Asia to the Ganges. Purusharpura, Peshawar, became their winter capital and a global metropolis. Kanishka's reign was a golden age, a patronage of Buddhism. A great patron like Ashoka, Kanishka convened the Fourth Buddhist Council in Kashmir. He sponsored monumental architecture, most famously the Kanishka Stupa at Peshawar, described by Chinese pilgrims as one of the wonders of the Buddhist world. Gandharan art in full bloom. Under Kushan patronage, Gandharan art reached its zenith. Sculptors in the workshops of Taxila, Peshawar, and Swat produced stunning schist stone and stucco sculptures of the Buddha and Bodhisattvas. The Buddha was now depicted in human form for the first time on a large scale, combining Hellenistic realism, Apollo-like faces, draped robes in the Roman style, with Indian spiritual serenity and symbolism, the Ushnisha, urna, lotus seat. Economic hub, the Kushan Empire sat astride the Silk Road. Caravans from Rome, bringing gold and glass, and China, bringing silk, met in its markets, with goods transshipped via the Indus to the Arabian Sea and onward to the Roman world. The empire grew immensely wealthy from this transit trade. Religious pluralism. While Buddhism flourished, Kushan coinage also depicted a pantheon of Zoroastrian, Greek, and Hindu deities, Shiva, Skanda, reflecting the empire's incredible religious tolerance and diversity. By the 3rd century CE, the Kushan Empire fragmented under Sasanian pressure from the west and the rise of the Gupta Empire in the east. However, its cultural and artistic legacy was indelible, shaping the Buddhist art of Central Asia and China for centuries. 7. The Hunnic Interlude and the Last Hindu-Buddhist Kingdoms, c. 401,000 CE. The 5th and 6th centuries witnessed another wave of nomadic incursions from Central Asia, often collectively termed the Hunas, likely including the Alkan Huns and Hephthalites or White Huns. These were fierce warriors who disrupted the Gupta Empire and the Rump Kushan principalities. The most infamous Hun ruler in Indian tradition was Mihirakula, early 6th century CE, based in Sagala, Sialkot. Buddhist sources, like the account of the Chinese pilgrim Xuanzang, depict him as a cruel persecutor of Buddhism, destroying monasteries and stupas. While these accounts may be exaggerated, the Han invasions undoubtedly caused political instability, economic disruption, and a decline in urban life and long-distance trade. As Hun power waned, a new indigenous power arose, the Shahi dynasties. First came the Turk Shahis, c. 7th-9th centuries, Buddhist rulers of Afghan and Gandharan territories with Kapisa as their capital. They were succeeded by the Hindu Shahis, c. 850–1026 CE, a dynasty likely of Brahmin origin, who became the last major bulwark of Hindu-Buddhist political power in the region. The Hindu Shahi capital shifted from Kabul to Udapandapura, Hund, on the banks of the Indus, near Attock, at its zenith under kings like Jayapala, r. 964–1001 CE. The kingdom stretched from Lamgan, Afghanistan, to the Sutlej River. The Shahis were great builders, constructing massive fortresses and temples. However, their historical significance lies in their epic decades-long resistance against the rising tide of the Muslim Ghaznavid Empire to their west. The struggle between the Shahis and the Ghaznavids, particularly the fanatically iconoclastic Mahmud of Ghazni, was a defining conflict. Despite occasional alliances, Mahmud launched over a dozen raids into the subcontinent. Jayapala organized a grand coalition of Hindu kings, but suffered a catastrophic defeat at the Battle of Peshawar in 1001 CE. He died by self-immolation, reputedly out of shame. His son Anandapala and grandson Trilochanapala continued the resistance, but were gradually pushed eastward. The final defeat came around 1026 CE, marking not just the end of a dynasty, but the end of an era, the conclusion of over 2 millennia of predominantly Hindu-Buddhist political dominance in the northwestern subcontinent. 8. The advent of Islam, from Arab contact to Ghaznavid dominion, c. 643–1200 CE. The arrival of Islam in the region was a process, not a single event, unfolding over centuries through commerce, conquest, and Sufi missionary work. The early Arab period, 7th–8th centuries. The first contact came during the Rashidun Caliphate. In 643 CE, an Arab army defeated the Raja of Makran, bringing coastal Balochistan under Muslim control. Caliph Umar, however, cautiously declared Makran the frontier of folly, halting further expansion. The decisive military campaign was launched by the Umayyads. In 711 CE, the young general Muhammad bin Qasim, responding to the alleged piracy of Sindhi ships and the plea of some local factions, led a formidable army into Sindh. He defeated the last Hindu Brahmin dynasty ruler, Raja Dahir, at the battles of Debal and Aro. Dahir died in combat, and his capital, Brahmanabad, fell. Bin Qasim's administration was remarkably pragmatic. He offered the dhimmi status to Hindus, Buddhists, and Jains, guaranteeing protection of life, property, and places of worship in return for a poll tax, jizya. This policy of inclusion, rather than forced conversion, allowed Islam to gradually take root. He established Al-Mansura as the provincial capital, which became a center of Islamic learning and culture. Multan was also conquered, famed for its sun temple, a source of immense wealth. The fragmentation and Sufi influx, 9th, 10th centuries. Central control from Baghdad weakened. By the 9th century, local Arab dynasties like the Habarid emirs in Mansura and the Banu Munabi in Multan became virtually independent. Multan emerged as a key Ismaili Shia center. It was during this period that Sufi saints began to arrive, traveling with traders or as missionaries. Their message of personal devotion, spiritual equality, and mystical union with God resonated deeply with the local population, particularly among lower castes and those disillusioned with rigid social hierarchies. They preached in local languages and often incorporated local cultural motifs, making Islam more accessible. The Ghaznavid culmination, 10th-11th centuries. The process initiated by the Arabs was consolidated by the Turkic Ghaznavids. Mahmud of Ghazna's relentless raids, 997-1030 CE, though primarily aimed at plundering the immense wealth of temples like Somnath, had profound political and demographic consequences. He shattered the power of the Hindu Shahis and other regional kingdoms, incorporating the Punjab up to Lahore into his empire. Lahore, under Mahmud and his successors like Masud Durst, was transformed into a thriving eastern outpost of the Ghaznavid state, a majestic city with palaces, mosques, and libraries. Persian language and culture were firmly implanted as the language of administration and high culture. While Muhammad's image is that of a destroyer, his court patronized luminaries like the poet Ferdowsi, who completed the Shahnameh, and the scholar Al-Biruni, whose Tahqiq Malil Hind, an inquiry into India, remains an unparalleled anthropological and historical source on 11th century India. The Ghaznavid hold on Lahore persisted even after they lost their Afghan territories to the Ghurids. It was from this base in Punjab that later Turco-Persian dynasties would launch the campaigns that would establish the Delhi Sultanate, irrevocably weaving Islam into the political and cultural fabric of the subcontinent. Conclusion: an enduring legacy forged at the Crossroads. The ancient history of Pakistan, from the Sawanian pebble tools to the Ghaznavid minarets of Lahore, is a testament to the extraordinary dynamism of a land destined by geography to be a confluence. It is a narrative of unparalleled indigenous achievement, the meticulously planned cities of the Indus, the agricultural pioneers of Mehrgarh, constantly enriched and challenged by a procession of the world's great cultures, the Vedic Aryans, the imperial Persians, the Hellenistic Greeks, the syncretic Kushans, the proselytizing Arabs, and the militaristic Turks. Each era left an enduring imprint: the Harappan legacy in urban water management and craft, the Vedic in religious and social frameworks, the Persian in administrative concepts, the Greek in artistic vision, the Kushan in religious art and cosmopolitan trade, and finally, the Arab and Persian in faith, language, and governance. This history is not a series of disconnected episodes, but a continuous, if often turbulent dialogue between the indigenous and the incoming, the local and the global. The ancient lands of Pakistan were not a periphery, but a core zone where civilizations met, clashed, fused, and were reborn. The rich, complex, and often contradictory tapestry of modern Pakistan is woven with threads spun in these ancient, foundational millennia, a permanent reminder of its role as one of the great crucibles of human history.